morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good.
Good. I am too. That was a long snowy weekend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Did you get any wind at all?
No, that I could think of.
No? Huh?
No.
Okay, well, where we went there was a lot of wind. There was even blizzards. I was just curious whether you've ever been camping before in a tent.
Yeah.
Okay? Like up north or around the area?
Along the area.
All right. Well, today we're going to look at a story, and it's out in the wilderness. Now, we're pretty fortunate because we live next to a state park. You know the name of our state park right here? What? Father
Hennepin.
Right, Father Hennepin. And if you go into Father Hennepin, there's lots of woods. Have you been down to the beach there?
Yeah.
And in the woods, there's lots of animals.
Yeah.
Do you know what type of animals are in the woods?
Skunk, raccoons, possums, mice, snakes, mosquitoes.
Did you know that I live right next to Father Hennepin? And they have moose sometimes, deer, bear even. Okay, and if you look at this picture right here, that's a grizzly bear. What can you tell me about this bear just by looking at it?
This bear is fake.
It is. It is. Look at how tall it is. And if you look at it compared to the girl next to him, you think the bear is really that big compared to that girl? I mean, the girl is like up to its kneecap.
No, I'm just saying this is the guy in a suit because I can tell by the line of like right here. You can tell by the line.
Oh, okay.
You can tell by the line that it's fake.
So you're thinking maybe it's a guy in a bear suit?
Yes.
It's not really a bear.
It's not actually really a bear.
Okay, I can see that's a possibility. And you've seen, like at our school, we have those suits with, what's the name of that husky that they have here at the school? That guy in the bear suit.
Yeah.
Remember his name? Oh, neither do I. Anyway, they have that guy in a bear suit. So you're thinking this is a bear suit too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's pretend for a second that it's not a bear suit. It might be.
Then that's a one big bear.
Yeah, that would be one big bear. But I think maybe when the person drew it, they just drew it that way to make it look scarier. So what type of things on the bear look a little bit scary if it was real and it was looking at you?
I would definitely run.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or just attack it and just...
Okay, maybe. I don't think I would do that if I was you, but you know, maybe you're feeling courageous, like on some cartoon shows. Okay, so this is the book we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at the first chapter. It's called I Survived the Attack of the Grizzlies, 1967. Okay, in 1967. Let's see, 1967, I would have been in 4th grade in 1967. That's a long time ago. So here's what we're going to be looking at, and this is the first chapter again, and if it goes well and you want to see the second chapter, we can look at that another day. But right now we're going to look at this one. And what I'd like to do is go through it. You've never read it before, but we're going to go through this and we're going to kind of talk about it a little bit as we go through. See if anything's familiar to you, all right? So why don't we start off? I'm going to read the very first phrase, and then you can go on with the second one after we've talked about it, okay? All right. I survived the attack of the Grizzlies, 1967. Put your hand up so I know you're following along. Roar! The enormous grizzly roared with rage. Its dripping jaws were open wide. Its dagger claws gleamed. And Melody Vega was running for her life. Mel had no doubt that this bear wanted to kill her. So in the story so far, it's kind of like the picture. What's the girl's name?
Magnolia Vega.
Okay, Mel, right. Mel Vega. So this is Mel, And right now, what is she doing?
She's running.
She's running away from
A grizzly.
the grizzly, right. And it talked about, what did it say? It said his jaws were what?
We're wide.
Wide open, right. And its claws were like,
Daggers.
yeah, like daggers. Have you ever held a dagger before, or a knife? Not even a table knife?
Not most of the time.
Okay, not most of the time. Sometimes when I have steak, I like to use a knife. And I cut my steak with it, because it's kind of tough otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Do you ever use it yourself, or does your mom cut your steak up for you?
Cut.
You do, or she does?
I do.
Okay, so what can you tell me about a knife? It's really what?
The knife was sharp.
Sharp. So this bear's claws now are what? Like a knife, so they're
Really ripping.
ripping. They're sharp, right? Okay, your turn to read.
Just long before Mel had been sitting in a peaceful darkness, surrounded by the magical wilderness of Glacier Natural Park. Owls hooted, night bugs quivered, but then there were new sounds that made Mel's blood turn to ice. Massive paws crunching across the ground.
Stop. Okay. Now I know you've been outside at night when it's quiet. You ever heard mosquitoes buzzing? Not during the winter, but during the summer, right? Yeah. What else can you tell me what it's like when you're outside, it's completely dark?
See some black.
Okay, it's black. Oh, okay, how do you feel?
I feel very uncomfortable with the darkness because it could be any animal or human just want to pounce out and just take me away or just eat me and die.
Okay, it is scary, especially after you've heard a scary story. So right now, she's sitting listening to the mosquitoes and things, and then she hears something. She hears a crunching sound behind her. How does she feel?
Then as ice turned to ice. She's let her blood turn to ice.
So what does that mean? How does she feel?
She felt very scared kind
Okay,
of.
it's frightened. You're not scared. You're right. Exactly right. Okay, let me do the next one. I'll back up just a sentence. Sounds that made Mel's blood turn to ice. Massive paws crunching across the ground. Wet, wheezing breaths. Slow, thundering growls. Mel looked into the distance, and there it was, a grizzly. Its silver-brown fur glittered in the moonlight. Mel's body filled with panic. Now, you already said you're uncomfortable at night when it's dark. And if you heard a crunching and turned around and saw this massive bear standing there, I know what you'd want to do, but what would you feel like doing?
I feel like punching it because when I hear a crunching noise, I'll be really scared, and then if someone turns around me, I just punch it.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so if you saw this big giant bear, you turned around and hit it in the face?
Well, yeah, because it scared me because I could hear all this crunching noise, and I'll be really nervous, and then when I turn, I'll be like.
Okay, so you would just kind of react to it, turn around and hit it. And then when you saw it was a bear, would you stand there and punch it again?
Yes.
You would, okay.
Because I don't like to look very good. I just don't want to look. I just bam, 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 just by punching.
Well, you sound like a superhero. Okay.
From Incredibles 2. Remember
Oh,
that?
from Incredibles 2.
Yeah, punching in the
Okay.
back. Yeah, pow, pow, pow.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, me, I think if that happened to me, I would probably,
Punch it too.
no, I think I would probably,
Run.
well, play dead or something. I don't think I want that bear to kill me. So she said that she was filled with panic. Now, if she's filled with panic, she probably isn't going to think about hitting the bear. What's she probably thinking about doing?
Run.
Yeah, and even in the picture it shows that. And we don't really like to want to go by what the pictures show us, but still it's there, and the author deployed that. All right, let's have you go on now.
And before she could stop herself, she was running as fast as she could. Within seconds, the bear was after her, its paws crashing against the ground. Mel's heart pounded with the terror that she sped toward a pine tree.
Okay, so she sprinted toward the pine tree, right? Now your prediction was that you thought she might punch it, but yet she didn't because she was so frightened she didn't know what to do. So what did she end up doing again?
Running.
Okay, towards what? Towards what?
Started to run.
What did she run towards?
She ran toward a pine tree.
Oh, pine tree, right. And pine trees are usually like evergreens. It's not like a tree branch you can climb up.
No.
Right?
I mean, who, think about if I was this girl
Mhm.
and I was running towards a pine tree, I was like, no. Because a pine tree, are you joking me? I mean, a pine tree won't stop a grizzly bear.
You know what? I think the next part actually kind of says that. Can I read that part for you? It was small and thin. That would be the pine tree, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. But it was her only hope for staying alive. She prayed that this grizzly did not climb trees. The bear was just one leap away when Mel launched herself into the tree. Okay, so she is trying to climb the tree. But you said it was thin, right? So it doesn't sound too smart. I guess she doesn't know what to do. Why don't you continue on? She gripped.
She gripped on a lower branch, kicking her legs up, and swung them around. Before she could start climbing, a bear was standing on its thin legs.
Okay. Boy, up on its hind legs, huh? So it's standing up on the hind legs. So this picture itself, it's not really that big, but to her it probably seems that big. If she's trying to climb a pine tree and the bear stands up looking down at her, it doesn't seem too smart, does it? Just like you said.
No, because a bear, if you want to climb, it's not. The girl's thinking it's kind of like it's just a little tiny bear, and if I
Right.
jump on the pine tree, it won't just go on to me. But when it stands up and she's looking down at her, she's like, oh, that's not
That's a big bear.
That's a mama bear or a dad bear because it's real huge. It's like almost top of the pine tree.
You think that she's going to be okay up there?
Oh no!
Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Your turn. You can do the next three, okay? It's swiped at.
Mel with a giant.
Well, start with it swiped
Mel
at.
with a giant paw. Oh,
Right here.
it's swiped at Mel with a giant paw. The claws tore through the flesh
Ooh.
of her leg. Somehow Mel ignored the screaming pain, the drip blood.
Okay, so the searing pain she had, it was dripping blood. Go on, let's do the next one. She clutched.
She clutched the branches with her trembling hands, pulled herself up tighter and tighter out of the bear's clawing reach. But the grizzly didn't give up.
The grizzly pounded the tree trunk, ripping away branches and bellowing with fury. What's that next word? Go ahead and try it. One more time.
Roar.
Yeah. Well, for sure. What type of claws did it have again that it just sliced into her?
Daggers.
Dagger-like, yeah. And it cut right through her leg, and she's bleeding.
Well, that's not good.
No, it isn't. I think you're right about her not being too protected. Let me read the next one. The spindly tree shook. Just like you said, it's a tiny tree. As though it was terrified as Mel was. And then, crack! The branch in Mel's hand broke and she tipped back.
Oh no, that's kind of good.
Okay.
Because there's 3 things. 1, she can go on the ground and play dead. 2, fall on the grizzly.
Okay.
Because if he fell on a grizzly, there could be a stump under it, so the bear like shh right there, or fell the other way and then would keep running until you find another.
So there's like 3 or 4 different choices she has then. Hopefully she can think of them when she's so terrified.
Yes, when she's tipped back. Because I think the most clever thing to do is just fell on the grizzly bear, because if there's a stump right there and the grizzly bear just standing, it could fell and stab the bear.
You know, let's find out what happened. Your turn to read. Remember, she's falling backwards now.
Time seemed to slow as she tumbled through the air, twisting and turning and screaming for help.
Down, down, down she fell. You go on.
Mel braced herself
She braced herself.
for the crushing jaws and ripping claws.
No grizzly had ever killed a human in Glacier Park.
Until tonight.
Until tonight. And that's the end of this chapter. So does it say she's dead?
Yes.
It kind of implies it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it says right here on the last like few sentences, no grizzly has ever killed a human in Glacier Park until tonight.
Okay, and this is the first chapter. Now, Mel is the main person in the book, right? And the grizzlies, it says attacked by grizzlies with an S, so there's going to be more than one grizzly.
Yeah.
So, can she be dead, do you think, at the first chapter already?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's no way that girl can survive a grizzly that's dagger claws, like teeth like kind of like sharp, and a bear is attacking her. There's no way.
And like you said, it said there's never been anybody killed before tonight, right?
Yes.
So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to read through this one time without stopping. We'll talk about it a little bit more, and then we're going to look at chapter 2 tomorrow. Do you think, when teaching reading comprehension, it's really important that the student becomes invested in the story. By having the think aloud, you can talk with them, help them relate real-life connections to what's happening in the story. Have them make predictions about what's going to happen. Whether they're true ones or bizarre, doesn't make a difference. They will connect with the story. They can analyze the story as they go along. I also marked down different comprehension words that we're going to look on before we go back and do the story for a second time all the way through. I comprehend.